A scientist accidentally completely changed how I approached BPD recovery. This is day 20 of 30 of finally being honest as someone who's recovered from BPD. I have a friend who works in the sciences, and one day he was explaining to me how his experiments work. He said something that really stuck with me. In his area of research, most experiments fail. That's just part of the process. And when something doesn't work, he doesn't go, "Oh my gosh, I'm terrible at this." He immediately goes to curiosity. Okay, what happened here? What can we do differently next time? And when he explained that, I had this realization. I was like, oh my gosh, I have been treating every mistake like some big moral failure. Living with borderline personality disorder, it was like every time I messed up, I would go, why are you doing this again? What is wrong with you? You tried so hard and got so far, and in the end, it doesn't even matter. Get it? But seriously, that was the thought running through my head. So I thought, okay, beating myself up clearly hasn't been working. What if I started treating my recovery like a science experiment instead? If it doesn't work, I'm not any further behind than I already was. So instead of spiraling when something went wrong, I started asking myself, what is actually happening here? For example, let's say my husband and I had a fight and I blew up at him. Instead of sitting in shame for hours, I would go back through the event methodically, kind of like, okay, where did my skills break down? Maybe he said something that activated an insecurity. And instead of holding space for that feeling, I jumped straight to being defensive and reacted. So then the next question is, what can I do differently next time? Maybe the experiment is pausing earlier. Maybe it's asking myself the question, could this be true? And it might be that the next time my husband and I get in a fight, I still mess up, but that's just another data point. Maybe I waited too long to pause. Maybe things were escalating faster than I thought they were. So next time I'll start the process earlier. And then over time, you just keep refining the experiment until you close in on what actually works. Now, I'm not going to pretend that this is easy. That self-critical voice was pretty automatic, and switching from self-judgment to curiosity felt extremely clunky at first. But I think that's actually how a lot of change in recovery works. It doesn't feel natural in the beginning because you're trying to interrupt something that's become an automatic process. But if you redirect it enough times, eventually you've got a new behavior that's your default. I think for me, the biggest difference that I saw with treating my recovery like a science experiment was that instead of every mistake feeling like proof that it was just never going to get better, it started to feel like I was narrowing down on what would actually work. See you next time.